Hi, and welcome back to Old School Blues Guitar. We're going through Freddie King's classic instrumental In the Open. And we've gone through the first two verses pretty much note for note. And so now from this point on, I'm just going to highlight some of the really cool licks that he does the rest of the way through, and maybe some ideas of how he's doing what he's doing. In the third verse, he starts out with a really cool lick, something like this. I played that a little slower. And he's either hammering on from the 5th to the 6th fret of the 3rd string, and then going to the 5th fret of the 1st string, like that. Or he could be sliding into it, something like that, sliding from the 4th to the 6th fret on the 3rd string. And then he goes into a bend, bending twice on the 7th fret of the 1st string, something like that. And I just think that is a really neat lick that he does in there. And then, as he goes through the third verse, there's something, this really goes for a lot of the other verses too. The way he plays around on the 3rd and 4th strings, I mentioned this before, I think I mentioned this before. It's just cool, you know, he plays all these different licks. Does something like that. And that one is a really cool lick idea. And what he's doing is kind of pulling off between the 7th and 5th fret of the 3rd string and going back to the 7th fret of the 4th string. And he sets it up with a bend. Check the tab for that lick. That's a really cool lick. Then he goes into this, which is a great Freddie King lick. And before we go any further, I should have mentioned this at the beginning. Make sure you understand that Freddie King didn't play with a flat pick. He used a thumb pick and a finger pick on his first finger. That's really country blues, old style country blues approach. And that allows him to play licks like this using his thumb and his first finger instead of just a flat pick. So this lick, he's going to bend up the 7th fret of the 3rd string and get the 5th fret of the 1st string. And the 4th time, he gets that twice and then into a long bend on the 2nd string. Like that. So the whole lick. And that, I think, is a really cool kind of thing that he does. And so in the third verse, those are a couple of the highlights. And everything else he plays, you know, solo-wise is just, you know, just improvising on the first position blues box. Verse for a minute. There's one other idea that I forgot to mention. When he's playing over the 4, he's not playing that, but he's soloing. While he's doing that, I think for a minute he's going to go into a D7th chord right here. And earlier in the song we saw him play that down here. But when he plays it during the third verse, I really think he's playing this shape. Got my first finger on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, my ring finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string, and my second finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. And he's picking 2, 3, 4. And that's kind of a cool lick idea, playing that chord in the middle of a solo verse. Then he's going to go to this double stop lick, which is really neat. Now, I'm not sure if I'm playing that exactly right. Check the tab for this one. But he's going to go back to this lick, which we've done before. Something like that, with the first finger on the 12th fret of the 1st string, second finger on the 13th fret of the 2nd string. We did this before. And then he's going to come up to this position, which we did before, and then 1, 2, just move it. So it's he's just moving that same shape from here to the 9th fret, 10th fret, 8th fret, 9th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret. And that's a really cool lick idea. So it's like this. Something along those lines. And then he's going to go into this really cool thing over the 5 and the 4. And what I hear is something like this. he's doing is playing a double stop. This would be an E, since the song is on the E. And I hear him slide in with the ring finger from the 8th to the 9th fret on the 2nd string. And then getting the 7th fret of the 1st string. And then picking again the 9th fret of the 2nd string. So something like this. Maybe you hear something different, but I hear this. And then he's going to go, most likely with the pinky, or you could use the 2nd finger on the 2nd string and then use the ring finger. However you do it, you could do it like this. And that might be easier if you're not so good with your pinky. So let's do it that way. And then I'm going to use my ring finger on the 10th fret of the 1st string. Letting off and picking the 1st string again. And then the 2nd string. So it's like this. And then when he goes to the 4, I hear him just kind of get a double stop. And he goes into that same lick again. So it's something like this. And then he goes back to this. That long A chord, does a little bend. And I'm hearing that being played on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret. Just something like that. Instead of here, it doesn't sound like the 3rd string. It sounds like the 2nd string. So that's the idea. So let me try to play that whole sequence there. This is one of the coolest parts of the song. That's how he ends that. So that is the end of the next verse, 4th verse of the song, if I'm remembering right. 3rd verse. Go to this double stop, which is an A7, and I'm coming way up here on the neck to the 15th fret with my 1st finger, 1st string, and I assume his ring finger could be a 2nd finger on the 17th fret of the 2nd string. It's an A7, the same as this, or this. So take your A, 2nd position A bar chord. There's an A, and then go 1, 2, 3, and there's your A7. And he does this picking pattern. I'm not going to get this exactly right, but I'll get kind of close to what he's doing. He does something like this. He starts out. And what he's doing with that, he's starting with this lick. I don't remember the exact pattern he plays there, but he's going to go. If you remember this shape, we've done this before. Move it up 2. So my 1st finger would be on the 14th fret of the 1st string, and my 2nd finger on the 15th fret of the 2nd string. So he goes here. Before he goes into the next part of the song. So that double stop going way high on the neck. Whoops, blew that. That's what I hear, something like that in that part of the song. So there's another really cool idea from Freddy King's In the Open. That's what may be the coolest lick of all in the song. And he's playing around over the 4. And then he goes into this lick. Something like that, which is really neat. And what I hear is he's doing the scrape over a minor, A minor chord. Or it could be a D9. Either one works there, but think of an A minor chord with my 1st finger barring the 5th fret, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings, and my ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. And so he's going to rake it. He's going to pick up, like drag it across the strings. And the way I do it is just slightly let up on the strings with your first finger, and then maybe with your right hand palm, set that on the strings down here, and between the two of those you get this effect. And he does that right. And then he goes into this. So this whole thing, it's 7-5 on the 4th string, and then 7-6-5 on the 5th string. And I hear a slide from the 5th fret of the 5th string to the 3rd fret, so like this. And then the 6th fret of the 5th string, back to the 3rd fret of the 5th string, to the 5th fret of the 5th string. So that whole lick, slowly. And then he's going to climb all the way back up. Like that. So it's going from here to the 7th fret of the 5th string, 5-7 on the 4th string, 5-6 on the 3rd string. So like this. And then I hear into the bend. So from 5-6 on the 3rd string to the 5th fret of the 1st string, 8-5 on the 2nd string, and then right away into that bend. So something like, let's play the whole thing. Like that. Played at game speed there, and then back. Playing around in there, and then in the middle of that he does this real cool, almost like a Twilight Zone lick. He does this. And this, I'm just going back and forth between the 7th fret and the 5th fret on the 3rd string, 4th string, to the 5th fret of the 3rd string. And what I'm doing to get that sound is I'm using my right hand palm and setting it on the 3rd string and 2nd string to get that choked, muted kind of sound. That's something Freddie King did quite a bit. So that's another real cool idea in the last part of Freddie King's In the Open. This goes into a fade out. He goes back to that first pattern. That's where, at least the recording I have, that's where it fades out and goes away. So pretty much same ideas throughout the whole song. If you want to learn it note for note and play it the way he did, listen to how many times he strums and pay attention to the timing on those licks and get those down. That last little bass thing he does over the 4 is kind of cool. So he goes to the 4. What I'm doing here is an open 6th string, 3rd fret of the 6th string, open 5th string, slight bend on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, open, back to that bend, open 5th string. So like this. You could play it all the way through and add an ending or figure out how you're going to end that. So there is Freddie King's In the Open, all the way through. Most of the really cool licks I've dissected the best I could. Maybe I'm not perfectly right, but on the tab I try to get them note for note, so you can take what I'm showing you here, and then between the tab, my demonstration, and the original recording, you can understand what's going on there. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. Hope it was helpful. And if you have any other requests for great instrumentals that I can add to this series, let me know. I've still got a whole list of them that I'm waiting to work on. I will see you again sometime soon with another great electric blues instrumental tune. Until then, take care.